How do you know that your woman is no longer interested in you? If you pay attention to details, you will always know when your woman is losing interest in you. Women are not the same as men. Most of their communications are nonverbal. They expect you to decode their body language and loss of pleasure in initially pleasurable activities. When she's happy, she can't hide it; when she's not glad, she can't. It's your responsibility to understand when things aren't right with her. How do you tell that you're losing her without her saying a word? 1. Her silence becomes impossible to ignore. Never underestimate the weight of a woman's silence. It carries more meaning than words ever could. When she stops speaking, it's not because she has nothing to say. It's because what she feels can no longer be put into words. In those quiet moments, her mind becomes a whirlwind of thoughts, illuminated like flashes of lightning in a stormy sky. The silence speaks of distance, of exhaustion, of emotional withdrawal. She no longer feels the urge to explain herself or fight to be understood. Instead, she retreats inward, choosing peace over conflict, solitude over disappointment. She begins to detach, not necessarily out of anger, but out of self-preservation. She tells herself, "I'll be fine," and she means it. Not because everything is okay, but because she no longer wants to rely on anyone else to fix what's been broken. "I'll figure it out myself." That's what she says, and it's not a challenge, it's a conclusion. This is the turning point. What once could have been solved with empathy, understanding, and effort is now slipping away, one unspoken word at a time. Slowly, silence hardens into resentment. It builds up like a wall, invisible but impenetrable. And eventually, even he begins to feel the shift, the coldness, the distance, the ache of words that will never be said again. He tries to patch things up, to say the right things. But by now, the silence has already done its damage. Her heart, once open and vulnerable, has learned how to close. And when a woman learns to live in her silence, she no longer waits to be heard. 2. Her silence becomes palpable, thick enough to feel in the air, heavy enough to echo in the spaces between them. Never underestimate the silence of a woman. It may seem quiet, even peaceful, on the surface. But beneath that silence, there's a storm. 1,000 unspoken thoughts swirl in her mind like lightning in a midnight sky, sharp, bright, and impossible to ignore. Her silence isn't emptiness. It's full of everything she hasn't said, every disappointment, every hurt, every moment she chose to hold back instead of explode. And when she goes quiet, it's not because she doesn't care. It's because she's beginning to care less. In that stillness, she's pulling away, not in anger, but in protection. She's learning not to depend on his words or actions. She tells herself, "I'm fine," not because she is, but because she needs to be. And when she says, "I'll figure it out myself," it's not out of pride, but out of necessity. She's no longer reaching for support, she's building her own. That's when it starts to show. The laughter fades. The warmth disappears. The connection, once electric, begins to flicker. He starts to notice, but by then, it's too late. Her silence has slowly crystallized into resentment. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep and quietly devastating. He may try to fix things. He might say the words he should have said long ago. But the damage is done. Trust has eroded. Her heart has changed shape. Because when a woman falls silent, truly silent, it means she's already said everything she needed to, just not out loud. 3. She becomes apathetic, and that's when you should truly start to worry. The most natural reaction to disappointment or displeasure is anger, frustration, raised voices. Arguments. But when she no longer gets angry, when she no longer reacts to things that used to bother her, that's not peace, it's detachment. It's a sign that something far more dangerous is brewing beneath the surface. You might think she's becoming more patient, more understanding, more mature in her responses. But don't be fooled. This is not growth, it's withdrawal. She's not trying to maintain harmony, she simply doesn't see the point anymore. Her heart is no longer invested in the fight. She has stopped trying to fix what feels broken beyond repair. Emotionally, she's slipping away. And physically, the distance is there too. Even moments of intimacy lose their meaning. She might still lie beside you, but the connection is gone. She goes through the motions, not out of desire, but out of routine. The warmth, the passion, the spark, it's all fading into something cold and distant. She's no longer with you in heart or mind, only in form. And then, she starts to stand her ground, but not the way she used to. When a woman loves and trusts deeply, she often allows her partner to lead, not because she's weak or submissive, but because she believes in the unity of their decisions. She shares the weight of responsibility. She supports your choices. Even when she doesn't fully agree, she stays beside you, willing to take the risk and live with the outcome. But when that trust is broken, when the emotional balance shifts, she no longer feels safe in letting you lead. She no longer wants to carry the consequences of your choices. You'll notice her growing distant, not through arguments, but through indifference. She stops offering her opinions, not because she agrees, but because she's stopped caring about the outcome. When you turn to her and say, "Honey, what do you think we should do?" and she responds with, "Do whatever makes you happy," it's not kindness. It's resignation. It's her way of saying, "I won't stand in your way, but I won't stand with you either." She's giving you the reins, but not out of respect, out of detachment. She no longer wants to share the ride. She'll watch the direction you take, but she won't buckle up next to you. If it crashes, it crashes alone. She's no longer invested enough to stop it. And that's when you've truly lost her. Because losing a woman doesn't always happen in loud moments. Sometimes, it happens in quiet disconnection. In silent dinners. In indifferent nods. In polite, distant touches. In the subtle but devastating change from we to you. So if you feel her silence, sense her disinterest, notice her lack of reaction, don't mistake it for peace. It's not peace. It's the final stage before goodbye. By the time she stops fighting, it means she's already started letting go. She confides in her friends rather than you. She is becoming avoidant. She doesn't want to have a hearty communication with you. She doesn't want to take sides with you. She trusts other people's judgment over yours. She becomes sensitive. She doesn't tolerate your inadequacies again. She starts to point out your errors and weaknesses. She takes offense at regular jokes. She starts to notice your inability to meet her demands. In conclusion, it's difficult to determine when a woman starts becoming resentful. However, with careful observation, you will know instinctively that things are out of place. Over time, other features like undue silence, apathy, and lack of commitment will be diagnostic of her lack of interest in the relationship.